Good afternoon. It is Friday at noon, and it is time for our Lunch and Learn that we normally have. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. We're still going to be talking about the coronavirus today. Things look really good across the country, so things are getting better. I know here in our own state, we've got more businesses opening up today, so we're very excited about that. But there are a lot of people that are afraid. There are a lot of people who are just not sure what to do. In fact, I was speaking with a patient this morning, earlier today, and she's older. She's in her 80s, and she is extremely depressed. And I'm going to talk about depression today. And when I was asking her why she was depressed, she said, well, I can't go anywhere. I can't go do my groceries. I can't do this. I can't do that. And I said, well, why can't you go do your groceries? She says, well, everybody says that because I'm old, I need to stay home. Well, age is a factor. We do know that this virus is attacking, for lack of a better word, older people, but there's more to it than that. Just because you have had more birthdays than some doesn't mean that you're going to come down with the virus. You also have to have other comorbidities, so overweight, high blood pressure, COPD, autoimmune disease. If those are in your situation, then yes, you are more susceptible. But if that's not you and it was not her, then there's no need for you to stay home. Today I do want to talk about how social distancing is causing us to have some mental breakdowns. And I will just tell you that I personally know of about 3 different individuals that have committed suicide through this virus. And it's not necessarily because they were already depressed. It is because they are feeling hopeless and they are feeling like this is never going to end. And so this mental health issue is a big issue. And so I just want to kind of make us all aware of this. And I also want to tell you what I think is behind the social distancing. So, we're going to see what we are on that. But this is a report. I'm not sure. I was looking at it. I'm not sure. I think it was done in late April. Okay. So it says when Governor Tom Wolf issued the stay-at-home order for Philadelphia residents on March the 23rd, Julie braced herself for a deluge of calls at the Montgomery County Suicide Prevention Hotline. Okay. The director of crisis intervention knew that the isolation could exacerbate mental health issues, especially for people with anxiety and depression. The first 2 weeks, it says, were quieter than she expected, but then the calls flooded in. On one day, she received 25 calls, more than double what they normally get, okay? She says, other suicide hotlines across the country are experiencing similar patterns. A Los Angeles mental health clinic reported 1,800 COVID-related calls in March compared to just 20 in February. So you can see that that is a huge, huge increase. And why is that? It is because everywhere you look, you're being told to stay at home, stay safe, work safe, social distance. You're being told all these things. Whenever you go into a store, you've got, things are blocked off. Things are, you've got things on the floor. I'm just telling you, we did too. When this first, everybody went down on quarantine, we wanted everybody to feel safe, and we wanted, to follow the guidelines as best we could. And so we marked off the floor, and we had big signs with a red stop sign and all that kind of stuff. And you know what? All that does is engender fear. We are not to be fearful, and we've gone through this now. I think we're in our 8th week, and this has not turned out to be the dire situation that we were told it was going to be. If you follow our page on Facebook, you'll see that I posted both of these yesterday, certainly this week, of a medical doctor saying this shelter in place is not healthy. It's not healthy for your immune system. And I posted a nurse, who said the hospitals are not overwhelmed. What you're being told on the media is not true. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we give you the right information. If you are sick, my nose just started to run apart, pardon me. If you're sick, stay in place. But if you're not sick, don't stay in place. So we're looking at The suicide hotlines, okay, the calls are double in March what they were in February, okay? That's horrible. On April the 1st, Pennsylvania created a toll-free 24-hour hotline for people struggling with anxiety. The line has taken more than 2,000 calls. That's a lot of people being stressed. If everywhere you look you see the message, you're going to die, that's not good for your mental health. It's just not good, okay? People are struggling with isolation and feeling depressed, all right? We fully expect that behavioral health needs to increase as the situation goes on. While social distancing is critical to slowing the spread of COVID-19, experts have cautioned that it can greatly strain mental health. Previous research has shown that large-scale disasters lead to increases in depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, substance abuse disorder, and other mental and behavioral disorders. Okay, so let's talk about that. Not only is everywhere that you go, you're being told you're going to die, okay? You're being told, stay home, stay safe, because if you go out in the real world, you're going to catch this virus and you're going to go to the hospital and you're probably going to be a statistic. That's the message that they're putting out, okay? So, we also, because we're staying at home, we've lost our jobs, okay? We're not going anywhere, nobody's buying anything, nobody's selling anything, and now businesses that are only able to open 25%, there are a lot of businesses that are not doing that because it's just not financially reasonable. So if you've lost your income, if you've lost your job, if you're being told that everywhere you look you're going to die, this is not good for your mental health. So there's more than just being afraid of the virus, okay? And I really don't think, if you don't have those comorbidities, I don't think you need to be afraid of it. No, I'm not going to go to a concert right now. Even if that was available, I'm not going to do that. Why? Because I don't necessarily think it's all that safe to do that in a small, confined building, a small, confined room. However, I don't have a problem going to the grocery store. I don't have a problem going to get my nails done. I don't have a problem doing those kind of things that I normally do. And it's these kind of things that you need to be doing in order that you can feel normal. Now, when I was speaking to my patient this morning, and I'd already decided to do this well before I spoke to her this morning, she was talking about mental health and being afraid and how it is hampering her ability to even process and think. And you know, that's right, because you know what? We're having that here too. I can't remember what day it is. Why is that? Because everything is just a mess. You can't, your regular, you know, I would go to this appointment on a Wednesday and I would go to this appointment on a Thursday and I would do this networking thing on a Friday. So I had things built into my calendar that told me what day it is. We don't have that built into our calendar now. So people are just not able to focus, which makes them feel bad about themselves, which again deteriorates mental health, okay? So this says, in Philadelphia, calls to the suicide hotlines have increased 10%, okay, in the last few weeks. Many of the calls are related to COVID-19, and people are calling because the things that they're seeing is causing them anxiety and stress, losing their jobs, social isolation, and domestic situations. We haven't even talked about that. I mean, domestic situations are deteriorating because you're not face-to-face with somebody 24/7, okay? If the parents are abusive and the children are with the parents 24/7, no school and all that kind of stuff, the children are likely to be more abused because the situation is going to be exacerbated because people feel hopeless. People feel frustrated, and so they're going to take that frustration out. I was watching Dr. Phil a couple weeks ago, and this lady wrote in and said, I've been, confined with my husband all since this COVID-19, and I've decided I don't like him. Is now the right time to get a divorce? And, Dr. Phil said, no. This is not real life. This is just not real life. When he goes back to work, you're going to love him again. And no, don't do that. And this is what we're seeing. So people are getting frustrated with the people that they live with. People are getting frustrated with their children. And the domestic abuse is heightened. There's more of it. And the child abuse, there's more of it. You can look at statistics and you can search those things out in your community, and it's very, very sad, okay? People are also afraid of contamination, and they're afraid of taking the sickness to their families. So that's a real concern. Now, I don't think it's as much of a concern today because we are 8 weeks into this, and we just see that it's just not affecting that many people. If you don't have those comorbidities, it's probably going to be a non-event for you. But my mom is immune compromised, okay? It's no secret that she is a cancer survivor. Yay, that she is a survivor. But her immune system is compromised. So do I specifically want mom going out? No, really don't. And thankfully, my mom is of the personality that she doesn't want to go out. She likes being at home. She's kind of a little hermit. And so it's not really a big deal for her. Now, she does miss going down to Red Lobster and having lunch. But they go at 11 o'clock. They're the only people in the restaurant. So am I worried about that? No. If she were going to go to happy hour and be with a whole lot of people, then yes, I'd be worried about that because it's a target-rich environment. So we don't want to, even though we're concerned about our loved ones, we're concerned about all that, we need to know that more than anything else, they need to be touched. They need to be held. They need to be talked to, all these kind of things. So I want to read a little bit different report. Okay, this one is entitled The Hands-On Research, The Science of Touch. Now, it's kind of long, and I want to get to some other things as well today. But one of the things that I thought was very, very interesting is that touch can make you calmer, which I think we all knew that, but touch can actually make you healthier. The science says that touch is our primary language of compassion. And don't we just need compassion right now? If you've lost your job, if you've lost your income, if whatever's going on, you do have a family member that's suffering, all of that requires compassion. And when the government is telling us to social distance, 6 feet apart, I don't have arms that long, and neither do you, to reach out and touch somebody, okay? And so this is really, I want to bring this to you because it's very, very important for our mental health. Now, we do have, I'm just being real honest, we've got people coming into the clinic and they just want a hug. They'll come in and they say, can I please have a hug? We go, absolutely, you can have a hug. Why is that? Because number one, I know how healing touch is, and number two, my immune system is nice and strong. So before I go back to my report, I'm just going to segue into, we got a new tool for you. It is a DNA hair analysis. Yes, we've had that, and you may have done that for nutritional concerns. But this new report has to do with your immune system. Where is your immune system? So while we are in this area where immunity really is the key to combating this virus, if you're concerned about your immunity, you don't have to make an appointment with me. You can just come in, give us about, I think it's about 4 hairs that we get, and we scan it into the lab. The lab is located in Germany, and it reads your DNA. That's why we need your hair follicle. And it will come back with a report, usually within 24 to 48 hours. It comes back with a report that tells you the state of your immune system. This is great, great news for right now. So if you knew that your immune system was lacking, you probably would take more precautions about going out. But if you find, and I took the test yesterday, we just got it. I took the test yesterday and my immune system is spot on. So I don't have to worry about it, okay? Just keep doing what I'm doing and I'm gonna be okay. So this is a new tool that we have. It's way less than coming in for an appointment to see me, but it's gonna give you all kinds of information on what nutrients you need, what vitamins you need, what minerals you need, all that kind of stuff. So we've got that out there so that you can build your immune system. Okay, but we're going back to the research now. The research suggests that touch is truly fundamental to human communication, bonding, and health. If you're not bonded with people, you're going to be more susceptible to depression. You're going to be more susceptible to anxiety. So there was a lab at DePauw University, okay, that showed that human touch is extremely important. And this is kind of a fun experiment. I never would have thought of this, but whoever did, okay. They built a barrier in their lab that separated two strangers from each other. One person would stick his arm through the barrier and waited. The other person was given a list of emotions, and he had to convey each emotion through a 1-second touch on the stranger's forearm. So you're not seeing somebody, you're probably not hearing somebody, you just have your arm, isolated through this wall, and somebody that you don't even know, you've got no affinity to, you've got no resonance with, comes up and touches you, and they're supposed to convey these emotions in a half a second, right? So this is charades at its finest, all right? Given the number of emotions being considered, the odds of getting it correct was about 8%. But remarkably, right, nearly 60% of the time, gratitude, anger, love, and fear, okay, they got those 60% of the time. The other emotions, they were able to guess correctly 50% of the time. So that is just amazing that a touch from a stranger can carry so much information, okay? They did find some gender differences, and you're gonna love this. When a woman tried to communicate anger to the man, he never got it. All right, ladies? So men just don't get it when we're mad, all right? When the man tried to communicate compassion to the woman, she had no idea what was going on. So I thought that was kind of funny, because in real life, don't we just know that this is true, right? All right. In the research, it says people can not only identify love, gratitude, and compassion, all right, but they can also differentiate between those kind of touches, something people haven't done well in studies of facial and vocal communication. So I thought that was good. So regrettably, Western cultures are pretty touch deprived, and we are even more touch deprived right now because social distancing, okay? We can't get within 6 feet of each other. It has been well documented, okay, from people who have studied conversations of friends in different parts of the world, all right? Different countries express physical touch in different ways. Okay, in England, 2 friends who sat near each other for 45 minutes, 0 touching, 0, not any at all. In the United States, when there were bursts of enthusiasm, a couple or a friend, they would reach out and touch each other twice in the 45-minute to an hour, okay? In France, the number of touches was 110 times per hour. In Puerto Rico, okay, we know the Latins are touchy, okay? They touch their friend 180 times, okay? So that's a lot of touches in an hour. I think I personally would be a little bit overwhelmed. But we are not in a culture that is overly touchy. But even now, it's even worse, okay? The benefits of touch start from the moment that we're born, okay? Children, preemies, okay, these are preemies, who had 3 15-minute sessions of touch therapy each day for 5 to 10 days gained 47% more weight than infants who just had regular standard of care, okay? That's important. That's really, really important. We were made to be touched, and so we need to do that. It says that we know that touch builds up cooperative relationships. So when you're not touching, your relationships are, not being helped at all. They're being hindered. When we touch, it shows a cooperative alliance. Studies show that touch signifies security, this is for your safety, okay? Trust, it soothes, it calms cardiovascular stress. So if you're someone with high blood pressure, you need a lot of touching. It activates the body's vagus nerve, which is intricately involved in our compassionate response. A single touch can trigger the release of oxytocin in the brain, which is the love hormone. So we've got to do this. Now I want to talk about why, we might be wanting to be social distanced. And I know some of you are going to think, oh, well, you're just crazy. But I'm going to post a video link after this chat, and so you'll be able to see that I'm really not all that crazy, okay? So, police departments in some states have started using drones to deal with the COVID-19 crisis. In California, in Florida, and New Jersey, officials have used drones to get the message to the homeless communities or to warn people to stay apart and respect physical distancing, okay? Now, I personally, we've got this restaurant, we've got a bunch of restaurants in our area, okay? They all have patios. Those tables are close together, right? If I'm out on the patio with my friends having dinner on a Friday evening and I have this drone buzz us and start, saying these messages, you guys are not social distancing, it's really going to ruin my day. I'm just going to tell you that, okay? Why do they want 6 feet apart? I've heard multiple doctors say that a virus can't jump 6 inches, much less 6 feet, unless you're sneezing, okay? So you're going to, do this and it's not going to go anywhere. These drones have heat-seeking sensors that can read your temperature, and they can do facial recognition. So if you're not wearing your mask and if you have a temperature, it's going to call you out, all right? When we are huddled together in a group, and I'm not talking about a football huddle or a group hug, I'm not talking about that, but when we're all together, respecting personal space, but we're together, the drone cannot differentiate. And so that's one reason they're using these drones. As you're going to see as things unfold, they're going to be wanting to vaccinate for the COVID-19. And there are some research that I have read that they are trying to perfect the technology to implant little nano robots that will make its way to your brain. Now, they're going to tell you that's so you can connect your thoughts to the cloud and download the information and all that kind of stuff. And that may or may not be. But if you can do that, then you can be programmed from the cloud too. And I personally don't want to see that, okay? They have already done some patents. I posted on my Facebook page. I'm not going to pull it up because time is getting short. But there is a patent that is called something about cryptocurrency. And it is an implant that they can put in your body that they can read your temperature, they can read your biometrics. It's just all that. If you'll look up id2020.org, you will see that there is, in fact, a plan to implant a chip in your hand that will tell whoever's logged in there that you have been vaccinated. Okay, there's a lot of talk. You've heard it from the governors that we're not going to reopen the country until we're all vaccinated. Well, not going to be vaccinated, just saying. But if it's going to be anything like China, and I read this report at the very, very beginning of the COVID crisis, for lack of a better word, that they have on their phone an app, and the app will... They have to have that app to get around. They can't get on the subway without it. They can't get on the train without it. They can't get into... I don't think they can buy and sell without it. I think it's really, really intimately connected with their life. It tells people when you leave your house and all that kind of stuff. The new Android software updates and the new iPhone updates, I don't know how quickly it's going to be, but I read a report yesterday saying that you're not going to have to opt into these apps. These apps are going to be downloaded on your software updates. And so there's no way, apparently from the report I read yesterday, there's no way that you can unsubscribe from that app once it's on your phone. So they said if you don't want that app, you need to turn off the automatic updates on your phone. And it's both for iPhone and Android. So I personally, and I told you this last week, I do exercises every morning. I set the timer on my phone because I don't want to go too short. I don't want to go too long because I have a schedule. And so about 3 weeks ago, my phone, and I probably had an update. About 3 weeks ago, my phone just started telling me you need to set your timer. And it's like, and none of your business, I will get to decide I will get to decide when I want to go and do my exercises. But the phone is somehow registering what I'm doing. Well, yes, I set the timer on my phone, so it is a repetitive action. So Siri has some kind of logic in there that anything I do all the time, although she doesn't ask me to do my Facebook Live, so she's fallen down on the job there. Anyway, the point is this track and trace, okay? The 6 feet apart, the social isolation is not good for your mental health. And I don't think it's going to be good for your intellectual health either once these drones get mass, quantities. I think someone told me yesterday that the satellites for this 5G, the satellites, there's going to be like thousands and thousands of satellites, and you're not even going to be able to see the stars because of all the satellites that are going to be up there. All of this messes with us. I don't want to be tracked, and that is what I think is this 6 feet apart. We need to really, really think about people that we love. We need to check on them. We need to not be afraid to hold them. We need not to be afraid to touch them. I know when I was a teacher, I would walk around my classroom and I would touch on the shoulder. Very appropriate, right? But I would just touch or squeeze, or when a student was talking to me, I would touch their arm, just so that they would be reassured and that they would have that bonding. People are not touching. Like I say, people are coming in here. Do you mind if we hug? Absolutely, we can hug. So check on your friends, check on your children, check on your parents. Check on anybody that may be vulnerable, anybody that's lost a relationship, anybody that's lost income, anybody that didn't get their stimulus check, anybody that, is going stir crazy because they're very, extrovert people and they need to be out and about. Check on people. We don't want the statistics that I read earlier in the day. I don't want those statistics to be statistics that we know. Like I said, I personally know of 3 suicides in the last 2 weeks, okay? I never know about them, right? People are hopeless. My husband showed me yesterday on Facebook, this man did a video, you may have seen it. He said, my son died of COVID-19, but not in the way you think. He was a senior. He was a senior in high school, okay? He was isolated. He couldn't have a birthday party, and then he made a big mistake. He broke a very expensive something in the house, right? And he just couldn't face it. It was just one more thing. And so he took his own life. We have to be careful. Please, please, please protect yourself. I was going to tell you this. We have, whoops, I'm dropping things all over the place. Remember, we have the Corona Blend. When you go out, when you touch somebody, we have this here. But we also can put it in the bottle, right? You can spray your mask, see? Spray your mask, you can see that. And what it does is it gives you an additional barrier if you're going to go out, that you want to make sure that you're protected. I hate that. Somebody's just commenting that they have a friend that committed suicide 3 days ago. I hate that. I'm so sorry. You guys take care of yourself. You need a touch. You need a hug. You need interaction with people. Be smart, okay? But don't neglect your mental health. I do not want to hear one more thing about somebody dying, okay? I just don't want to hear that. You guys be good to yourself. Love your mamas. Love your grandmas. It's Mother's Day weekend, and I will see you next week. Take care of yourself. Get some sunshine if the weather allows. And if you'll read the reports, you'll see that sunshine, warm air, and the beach is really, really good for your health, okay? It really, really knocks this virus down. So be good to yourself. Love you so much. I'll talk to you next week.